and other places. And when you are sick or people are in need, it's the time when these things are taken to the people. And when you work, you are doing for your own. Not for the person, but for our own good.
Volunteers, most of whom are refugees residing in Dobong for years now, believe working on the president's farm will help complement his efforts of making the country a food self-sufficient nation. With the farming season in full swing, officials are convinced of a good return after what was an impressive start for proceedings on the vast farm.
Youth and Sports Ministry officials have started preparing for the 2012 National Youth Conference and Festival. The committee responsible for organizing the biennial event slated for December was recently launched by Musambai, Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Mamadou Jallo reports the Central River Region town of Janjanbureh will play host to what is billed as the biggest convergence of youths of the country.
Barely 3 months before the National Youth Conference and Festival, the Minister of Youth and Sports has launched the National Organizing Committee to prepare for the event to be hosted by the Central River Region. The biennial event brings together 1,500 delegates from across the country for a week of activities aimed at directing and reorienting youth participation towards the productive sectors of the economy. With youth unemployment estimated at 40%, the NACOM will create the platform for youths from diverse backgrounds and experiences to brainstorm on ways and means of overcoming these challenges. According to Fabakari Kale, who prepared and presented a concept paper on the conference and festival, the event will have 5 broad activities. That is a youth conference, exhibition, cultural manifestations, sports, prizes and awards.
The conference, which is a biennial event, which is coming every 2 years, is aimed at focusing on the experience of those young people and to dilate on the issues that are affecting them, such that we will be able to develop strategies and programs to be able to advise the government.
The launching of the National Organizing Committee, it is hoped, will lay the groundwork for the start of the event, raise the required funding and get reassurances from the hosts. The budget for the event is $2.8 million, of which government has already pledged $1 million. This according to the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Musa Ambai. This commitment, he said, underlines government support to the youth of the country.
The aim of NACOF 2012, as highlighted by the chairperson, is to promote youth participation in the productive sector for employment creation and endear youth to their cultural roots in order for them to realize their life's dreams.
The Governor of Central River Region, Alhaji Malang Sebo Kamara, reassured organizers that his region has already leveled the ground for the smooth hosting of the event.
Partnership framework and plans for fundraising at local level. The local organizing committee already engaged on the sensitization of key stakeholders, and communities in order to effectively coordinate and brace up to their responsibilities and challenges.
This work will solely reassure officials and organizers of NACOM as organizational and logistics problems have dogged the event in the past years. The challenge now is to raise the $2.8 million, starting with organizers and stakeholders who have pledged monies of various amounts. Already GAMCEL and Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation have each contributed undisclosed amounts of money towards the successful hosting of the 10th edition of the NACOM. Mamadou Jallo, Grts.
Saturday's heavy downpour has damaged structures and flooded many houses. More than 100 families have been affected by the heavy showers. Ajami Sisi reports officials of the National Disaster Management Agency have been touring the affected areas to survey the damage.
It was the first day of September, and as Gambians ushered in a new month, so the rain took a turn and it rained non-stop. A gloomy Saturday it turned out, especially difficult for the families whose houses got inundated. About 100 of them were left temporarily houseless, with the water level so high reminding inhabitants of the 2010 flash floods. A tour of some parts of the Kanifing municipality with officials of the National Disaster Management Agency gauging the severity of the floods brought to light some problems which the inhabitants of these flood-prone areas dealt with in the past and are forced to deal with now. We visited a family with a similar story who refused evacuation, even with obvious signs of danger written all over their compound.
We have also seen families that are so vulnerable that they definitely need to be evacuated for a safer place, And the worst part of it is we have also seen almost 75% of the compounds visited, all the toilets are overflown, more so getting into their bedrooms, which means that those people are highly at risk of. And since we are in the rain, I think we will urge the landlords, because most of these people are tenants, the landlords to definitely help these tenants to bail them out, because the way we've seen the toilets being overflown today is unbearable, and anybody conscious wouldn't be comfortable to stay in such a surrounding.
Though the anticipation of the rainy season brings in new hopes for a better cropping season so as to reduce the impact of the crop failure, this situation is sure to deter people from focusing on that.
If you see the areas that we visited today, this is the stream coming from Abuko down to the Ozone. But you see, people are sitting on the banks of this stream. So as a result, the stream is so tight now that it has to get into those compounds. So what we would advise is, if those people can definitely move away from those areas, so that we can excavate the area and then expand it, so that when it rains, how much heavy the rain is, the water would easily flow and empty itself to the ozone. But as long as people are living in these areas, definitely annually it will happen.
Actually, there were studies done in 1989, and some of these areas were not to be settled, but people have lived there now, so it's really a problem, because some of these are waterway and people are sitting on it, and they have to go. Definitely they cannot stay there anymore again. But every year we have the same problem again. Unless we relocate them or we move them from there, we're not able to work from there. We will still continue to be the same.
With the rains continuing to batter most parts of the country with ferocity, families, especially those in flood-prone areas, will be hoping that events of the aftermath of the 2010 flash floods are not repeated. For GRTS News, I am Ajami Sise.
You can monitor GRTS Radio live on our website at www.grts.gm. We'll be back with more stories after the break.
There are many property companies out there, so making a choice can sometimes be difficult. This is why you should rely on a professional and experienced player in the market. Let me introduce you to Universal Properties. Universal Properties. Universal Properties. Universal Properties are one of the oldest and the most reliable property company in the Gambia. Universal Properties, we have 3 great locations to offer: Lamin, Brufut, and also on the Sukuta Airport Highway. In Lamin, we have 25 by 20 with inner roads, electricity, water, and some residents are already in place. We are greatly located in Brufut and very well accessible. The place you would want to build your dream home. Universal Properties. Universal Properties. And in Sukuta Airport Highway, you can have easy access to the airport, roads, and all amenities. We are located on number 2 Carava Avenue FIB House on the 2nd floor. Call us on 788-8888, 618-8888, or 996-5204, or www.universalproperties.org. Universal Properties. In God we trust. In God we trust.
Welcome back. Former Ethiopian Prime Minister Meles Zenawi has been buried. The African leaders at the funeral paid tribute to the former guerrilla leader, describing him as a liberator and a great son of Africa. The former Prime Minister died some 2 weeks ago in a hospital in Belgium after a prolonged illness. We have more in this report.
The day filled with sadness for mourners attending the national funeral of the late Prime Minister Meles Zenawi in Addis Ababa on Sunday morning. Heads of state from many different African countries attended the ceremony along with thousands of other people. The interim Prime Minister, Haile Mariam Dejan, said a few words at the ceremony and promised to continue working on Zenawi's work to the end. But 12 days after the death of one of the most powerful men in the country, it is a time to reflect on the positive and not to focus on any possible